was another man found hanging from a tree in Aurora, Colorado. And if you don't know this, please share this news, especially if you're from the Hispanic community, because he was a young Hispanic male. And I cannot believe that lynching is still alive in 2025 and is very much alive. There was another case in Albany, New York. His name was Earl Smith. He was
Not enough people are talking about this. There was a Hispanic man found hanging in Aurora, Colorado, in Del Mar Park. They found him hanging. He was lynched in Colorado. This is crazy, and not enough news sources are speaking on this. Why was he lynched? Like, I need answers. I have questions. It just doesn't make sense. I saw a post. Somebody literally posted him hanging from a tree in a open field. It was like a big ass park, just open fields. It doesn't make sense. In 2025, people are being lynched. This is crazy. This is crazy. Like, I can't believe that video is up on TikTok. This is wild. This is sad. Like, God bless that man, but it's just like, this is crazy. He was lynched, for real.
Something strange is happening, because I came across part of TikTok where people are talking about an Hispanic male was found hanging on a tree in Aurora, Colorado, and Del Mar Park. So immediately, people are referring to the incident being a lynching. And I went and I had to fact check this information. I go to good old Google, and every article that I find, immediately after I click the link, it saying my iPhone has been hacked, and it takes me off. It redirects me and wants me to download other things. So, I go to True Social, and I find that Aurora, Colorado made a statement right here on the screen, which is very strange why I can't find an original article talking about the whole situation. It keeps saying my iPhone is being hacked, almost as if they don't really want you to see the article, which is very strange to me, because they're saying it's a self-inflicted, like he hung himself on this tree. But we know what is done to people on trees, like through history. Now, there was also a black male in Albany, New York, a while back that was also found hanging from a tree. I just find this all heavily strange, especially with all the hate and the mass deportation talks here in America. And now seeing these things are popping out of the woodworks. With all the amount of hate that's been in America lately, I wouldn't doubt that there's people out here just waiting their whole life to do this all over again. This is absolutely insane. So my question is, if you're from Aurora, Colorado, did this really happen? Because every time I hit an article, it redirects me onto something else as if my iPhone has been hacked. This is all very strange to me. I need answers, guys. And why are they hiding it? Do they not want the uproar that's going to come from these things? Because both situations are saying self-inflicted. Who the hell is thinking about ending themselves at a freaking park? Like, I'm sure they'll find the nearest closet to do that. But at a park, which is more associated with lynching, like they're trying to send a message, a statement. Let me know in the comments, guys. Like this video, and as always, follow me.
Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you are watching this video. I stumbled across the first video that you guys just saw, the first half, about a man being hung from a tree in Aurora, Colorado. They're saying that he was Hispanic, and people are thinking that this is a lynching because of all the racial tension going on and all the deportations that are going on and everything like this. And the second man I want to talk about, his name is Earl Smith. And he was found Earl Smith was found 2 weeks before the mom, Krouch was found. So, this is the story about, oh my goodness. The man hanging from from a tree in Aurora Park on Friday, June 27th, was a 45-year-old homeless man from Cambodia named Mom Krouch, according to the Apracho County Coroner's Office and a friend of his. Aurora, Aurora residents were shocked by what is going on with this hanging in this park. And Aurora police posted on X Friday afternoon that it was investigating the incident as an apparent suicide and that there are no indications of foul play or that anything criminal occurred, and there is no larger community concerns. A lack of information over the weekend. No one witnessed it and no one heard the incident. And this video of this guy, he shot it, of Mom's body hanging from a tree with police cars around it. Before Mom was identified on Monday, witnesses said on social media that the man they saw hanging was Hispanic. People said they saw a Hispanic man. And the users wondered what was the conclusion that the police came up with. And without looking at Krouch's death, they said it was not a lynching. So Krouch's death came 2 weeks after a black man was found hanging from a tree in Albany, New York. Earl Smith. A death that was ruled a suicide. 2 hangings came at a time of heightened fear of hate crimes, including Colorado, where the anti-Semitic attack in Boulder on June 1st resulted in the death of 18-year-old Karen Diamond. On June 30th, the injuries to around a dozen others. President Trump's aggressive deportations and rhetoric led many on social media to wonder if the Aurora death was the result of vicious hate crime against Latinos. On June 30th, the Apracho County Coroner's Office released Krouch's name and date of birth, confirming that his manner of death was suicide. Krouch's name and date of birth are listed under the address in Aurora that is only a 20-minute walk from Del Mar Park. The current resident of the address, a woman who goes by Carol, said he used to live there years ago. And she confirmed Krouch's identity. And, damn. It said the body hanging from the park, she didn't know until his identity was confirmed, and she said she was very devastated. So she said that he didn't seem like the type of person who would want to, suicide himself, He had a kind heart. I'm devastated. I never pictured him to hang himself or as him having bad karma from somebody else to do that. He stayed to himself for the most part. From what I recall, she said, Krouch was homeless when they met, and she brought him into her home because she lived on her own. Krouch isn't the only homeless resident she invited to live with her, explaining that she did so for several years after her husband left her. Carol says Krouch stayed with her for about a year, but she thought he was only going to stay a couple of days when she first welcomed him in. Carol says Krouch told her he was a Cambodian immigrant and went by Tommy. She described him as a very intelligent, but didn't aim the right way. Other than an acquaintance, Krouch had when he first moved with Carol. She didn't know of any other friends or family he may have had, she said. The last time she saw Krouch was shortly after he left her home. He set up a tent and lived in a bike lane on the street in front of her house. She says Aurora police swept him out the spot soon after she saw him. Okay, so the coroner's office have a tough time telling if drug overdoses were intentional or unintentional. So these tends to happen because these drug overdoses tend to happen in isolation with no note left behind, local experts say. However, the number of confirmed suicides by homeless Coloradians has been increasing since 2015. They said a dozen residents are known to have committed suicide in Colorado, while hundreds more died from drug overdoses. That really hasn't been determined, really. So now, Sue Sanders. In 2020, Sue Sanders spoke about a law in Greenwood Village capping motel stays at 29 days that forced her into the street. In August 2022, she unalived herself in her car. After leaving her cousin a long note explaining she was out of ideas. In August, a 58-year-old handyman named Joe Henry told the news about losing his job at the Brown Palace for sleeping in out of order rooms while he was homeless. He was found unalived from an apparent suicide less a week after sharing his story. This is just sad. A lot of homeless people are just taking themselves out. Now, we jump over and we transition over to Earl Smith. He's a 58-year-old father, grandfather, and they found him in Albany, New York. Okay, hung in a tree. And they're saying that his hanging was also a suicide, not a murder. And then they said that I guess 3 more black men committed suicide by hanging. But in 2025, that I don't know if that is completely or remotely true. So they're just saying that he committed suicide, and you will hear from the cousin right after this. Okay, so Earl was found hung from the tree June 11th, 2025. 2 weeks later, it was Mom Krouch, June 27th. Okay? So Earl was found in Albany. So the police are conducting a death investigation after Earl was found hanging Wednesday morning from a tree on Westerlo Street. Officers were called around 8 a.m. to Green and Westerlo Street. When they arrived, they found Earl Smith, 58, pronounced dead at the scene. At this time, based on preliminary investigation, the circumstances to appear consistent with suicide and no evidence to suggest that the incident was criminal in nature. The department said in a statement, the identity of the dead man will not be released. A video of the scene that showed the man hanging was circulating on social media, but appears to have been taken down. Yes, the video is taken down. I can't find that one anywhere. So the daughter was saying that the police are just sweeping this under the rug. She wants justice for her cousin because it's not fair. He was the life of the party. He meant a lot to the family. You know, And it's just sad that now these hate crimes are becoming back and more prevalent. Yeah. So, as I said, they found it a suicide. And so the police released a statement on Monday that respond to people speculating without evidence on social media that Earl Smith had been lynched or unalived. Right? Following a thorough investigation and based on findings from the medical examination office, the death was ruled a suicide. There is no evidence to indicate that any criminal activity was involved. The department said in a statement, "We have thoroughly investigated this incident and can confirm that the theories circulating online are not accurate." And we, as blacks, believe that some, not all, but the majority of blacks do not hang themselves. Do not. So I believe it's a lynching. Other people believe it's a lynching. But hell, what do I know? I'm just a talking head. Have a great day, YouTube.
Update on my cousin Earl Smith's case. As y'all can see right here, they are trying to rule it a suicide. What most people don't know is that there is a camera positioned right in front of the place that he was hung at. The cops refused to get that video. I gotta close this. The autopsy came back and said that he was murdered before he was put in the tree. We can't forget how there was a flag hanging from him, and my family has already came out and said he is not gang affiliated and wouldn't have been in the streets doing anything of the shape or form. He is only 50-something years old. What 50-something-year-old man do you know in the street that's still banging? Blood and Crips haven't had beef since motherfucking 2012. What is we talking about right now? With that being said, they are trying to rule it a suicide. Their comments are off. I need for y'all to flood Albany Police Department's page. I need for y'all to flood their calls, their emails, their bookings. I need you to flood that shit. Because he needs justice. This is upstate New York where they pretend like they're not racist and put a black mask over it, but are racist. I was dating a man in Troy, and he told me about how the Proud Boys chased him from all the way from 4th Ave all the way to the other side of Troy in a blacked out van. We got Bethlehem, New York with all the racists who like to scream nigger at people who are getting married. You got Colony, New York where they like to beat black people to fucking death. You got Schenectady police that like to attack black women. And now we got APD pretending like they didn't just hang this man last week in front of a motherfucking school. Because, I'm sorry, I don't know no young niggas who's gonna put a nigga in the tree. But I do know a lot of young white people who have fantasized about that. I haven't been able to give y'all an update because there's not enough going out. There's not enough being spoken about. What we do know, the autopsy has came back. He was murdered before he was put in that tree. The cops are trying to still rule it a suicide because they did it. And I personally say this. Remember I told y'all in my last video, go get y'all guns, get y'all ammo, and get ready? Fucking get ready. I suggest niggas just start tweaking. It's no reason why we not already tweaking anyway. There was another black girl found hanging in fucking Florida. She was only 16. This shit has been going on back to back to back to back to back. It's time black people stand up.
Black people don't hang themselves from trees, especially out in the public, in the middle of the city. Albany, New York. Y'all really want me to think that Earl Smith, 58 years old, climbed up a tree that was 10 times his size to hang himself? You've got to be kidding me. You've absolutely got to be kidding me. A black man did not climb up no doggone tree in the middle of the city and hang himself near the police station and a school too? Y'all got to be kidding. I know y'all are used to getting away with things, but this one is not one you're going to get away with, because there's no way in the world that we are believing you, especially when the family said, no, he wouldn't have up no doggone tree and took his own life on a tree in the middle of the city. There's absolutely no way that he would do that, and y'all think we supposed to believe that mess. This is the stuff I'm so over. I'm so over people thinking that the IQ of a human being is the size of a penny. It's not. It's not. It's the size of the actual city, actually. So on June 11th, they are trying to tell us that Earl Smith climbed up a tree that is 10 times the size of him. That man is skinny. That tree is about 5 times my size, okay? That's how small I want you to know Earl Smith is, okay? They trying to say he climbed up that tree, took his own life by hanging himself, and then say, oh, it wasn't a lynching. It wasn't a lynching. It wasn't a self-deletion. So what's the other option? if it wasn't a self-deletion. What's the other option? Albany, New York. They left this man's body up in this tree long enough for people to be walking around recording it and then posting videos of it. That's absolutely disgusting. Take that mess down if it's not already down, okay? Because you thinking that somebody wants to see their family members online in that type of position, you've got to be kidding me as well, okay? That is very inconsiderate and inhumane. That you would think somebody would want to see their family members online after the police tried to say they took their own life, even though we're telling y'all it's not. It ain't no way that man could even got up there. If y'all have seen the pictures of him in his outfit with his black and white with this random red flag, he didn't do that. He was too fly for that one, okay? Baby, because that outfit was cute, okay? I just want you to know. He was too fly to be climbing up a tree and don't nothing look rougher than nothing. But he climbed up a tree that was, again, 10 times his size to take his own life. Absolutely not. There's absolutely no way in this world that you think I'm going to believe that that man got up there and ain't nothing on his outfit. There's nothing around to help him climb up this tree. And he wasn't strong enough to be throwing a rope up there and doing it himself. But Albany, New York, get it together and do an actual investigation and determine who actually took this man's life, because it was not him. And don't let me say it again, because I meant what I said.
It just needs to be said very clear that 4 black men hanging from trees in 1 week is not a coincidence. It's an accident. It's an incident. The fact that all 4 cases have said no foul play and then just close the cases. Like, at this point, all marginalized communities need to round the wagons. Like, do not go out alone. Do not go running alone. Do not go shopping alone. Like, some people are like, stop, just like, don't make conspiracy theories, or stop, stop being alarmist, but the alarms already rang. Like, the alarms rung. That is past tense. We are all in it now. From ICE raids to police brutality to legislation for citizenship is now just been blown up. This is the reality. So instead of tensing up, take a deep breath, relax your jaw, let your eyes feel clear, let your brain relax your forehead, and look clearly at what you're doing for your community. What is your community? How do you build it if you don't have it? Because this is unspeakable, but it's going to be spoken again and again and again. It's unspeakable, but this is the language that is now being communicated. A mere 6 months in, so do what you need to do to keep each other safe.
Since the media isn't covering this for some weird reason, I'm going to cover it and spread the word. So there was a black man found hanging from a tree in New York. Everybody is super skeptical of the police because they were really quick to kind of brush this under the rug, say, oh, this wasn't a lynching. We did an investigation and we think that this was self-unaliving, which the family members don't believe. They're not buying that. They're extremely skeptical of the whole situation and especially how the police are handling it because they're trying to keep it on the hush-hush. Did you hear about this? No, I didn't either.
If you are black and you've ever attempted, or you know someone who is black and has attempted, I have one question for you. Was it with a rope? Was it with a rope? Because for me, the answer is no. And for everyone else that I know, the answer is no. But why is it that every single time that one of us is found strung up from a tree, they want to say that we do it to ourselves? Because that's exactly what is going on right now in Albany, New York. And 9 days ago, Earl Smith was found strung up from a tree in Albany. And I don't know how long he was out there, but he was out there long enough for people to take videos of him because it had been reported that videos of him were at a point circulating online, but they have since been deleted. Albany police are trying to say that it is a self-unaliving. And not only do his family not believe that, but the citizens of Albany, New York do not believe that either. And no one is reporting on this. No major media outlets are talking about this one peep. I have searched as much as I could, and online I found 4 articles about it from news sources, and those are all smaller independent news sources and journalists and things like that. Besides that, it's all noise from people from Albany trying to get this attention, because there's no way, with the amount of information that the police are withholding from the family as well as the citizens regarding this case, regarding his body and the state and manner in which it was found, it's a really big jump for them to just be like, yeah, no, he definitely did it himself. But again, when have we ever done that to ourselves? As someone who grew up in upstate New York, look, 716, born and raised in Buffalo, we need to separate ourselves from the idea that any part of the country is more or less racist in any sort of ways than another part of the country. All of the colonies had plantations on them. Like from Maine all the way down to Georgia, we had plantations at a point, up until a point. Racism is quite literally interwoven into every single stitch, into all of the fibers of the fabric that makes this country. And so there's no separating it, there is no lessening it or whatever. It manifests in different ways, certainly, but, you know, don't forget, like I said, I'm from Buffalo, and we just had that boy like 2 or 3 years ago from Syracuse, that 19 or 20-year-old boy or whatever, who drove 3+ hours just to shoot up that Tops, which was literally so close to my dad's place. Like, my dad and aunt shop at that Tops frequently, and he simply did that out of the hate in his heart that he was fostering. New York, and as well as the entirety of the United States, is racist everywhere, every square inch. There's no way that this man, if he were trying to take himself out, were to do it in that manner. Point blank, period. Now, I've got his family's GoFundMe that they've set up for his services linked in my bio. So if you are in any position to support them in any way, by all means, please do so. I'm certain that they would appreciate the support. And if you want to get one of these Stereotype as Lazy Ever Since We Stopped Working for Free shirts, or this Rainbow Kafia for Pride, those are both in my showcase. I'll link one or the other in this video. They need to be linked for the video to get people's For You pages. But I figured since white people hate us so much, we may as well love us a little bit more, play into that irony. Anyhow, spread the word and be safe, because we don't do this shit to ourselves.
Imagine being 58 years old. And we all know reaching 58 years old, life is probably already through you some ups and downs. And imagine getting through those ups and downs. And imagine deciding when you're 58 years old, hey, I'm going to go get baptized. I want to get close to the God. I feel like God has a different path for me in life. And imagine going to get baptized, and then one day you leave your home or your place of work, and you're out for a stroll, you're out for a walk, and you're just enjoying your life. And imagine some people grab you without you even knowing they were there. Grab you, hold you captive. They take you off wherever they want to take you off. They put a rope around your neck. They talking, they screaming, saying a bunch of disrespectful, hateful, hurtful, racist things to you, and they letting you know that your life is about to end. And imagine them tying that rope to that tree. And imagine them tying that rope on you. And imagine them leaving you on that tree to hang, taking pictures of whatever they want to take, and then they leave. And imagine people find you. The police do an investigation burly. They don't look at no video footage, and they automatically rule that you took your own life, rather than looking into details that they can look into to find out exactly what happened to you. Well, that's exactly probably what happened to Earl Smith on the early morning of June 11th or the late night of June 10th. Earl Smith was 58 years old, 58-year-old man that had just went and got baptized a week before this man was hung, and the police is trying to rule it a self-unaliving rather than do a thorough investigation and get that video footage. Absolutely. One other news place, News 12, something like that, just put out something about it and everything. It's a start, but it's not enough, because we all know the history of our country, and we all know the hatred that lives inside of our country, and we all know that there's plenty of hatred around our country that would do this to Earl Smith. It's as if the police is inside of a gang and drug community, and something ends up happening to one of the drug dealers and or one of the gangbangers, and they know it's a gang drug related activity right there. There's no way they're not going to check camera footages to see what even happened to that gangbanger or that drug dealer. As we all know, many of people have made the decision to self-unalive themselves by pew-pew around our country many a times. So anytime that somebody gets pew-pew, why don't they just jump up and automatically rule that as self-unaliving? Because they know that people pew-pew people all the time, so therefore they do an investigation. And it should be no different than lynching and hanging people inside of our country, because they know damn well there's a history in our country of people lynching and hanging people. So every time that they find somebody on the rope, they need to do a goddamn thorough investigation. If there's video footage at hand, there's no reason why they should want to ignore it. The FBI should be all over this and wanting to pick this up. A different agency from the outside should be inside trying to find out what's going on and find out what kind of hatred is living inside of that police department, inside of that community down there in Albany, New York. If there wasn't no hatred inside of that police department down there, we already know. An officer with a heart would have did a thorough investigation already. It went and took the initiative to go get that video footage to find out exactly what happened to Earl Smith, rather than trying to just sweep this and automatically rule this as self-unaliving. Earl Smith and his family deserve justice, and our country deserves to know what's going on. Martin Luther King Jr., don't ever forget it, told us the best: an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Just because injustice is happening to somebody across the street from you doesn't mean that it's not going to cross that street and end up happening to you. So the more you allow injustices to happen to other people, the more opportunity you give it to circle back around to you or somebody you love dearly inside of your life.